Hi guys, welcome to this video focusing on how you can prepare a pure dry salt from a soluble reactant. So in the exam you might get a question that says you have sodium hydroxide solution and hydrochloric acid. How can you use that to produce a pure dry salt of sodium chloride? The key thing for this is you need to use a titration. Now I've already done a video on how to carry out titrations, so it would be a really good idea to watch that video before you move on with the rest of this video. I'll also put a link in the description for those of you watching this on mobile where this link doesn't work. So now that you're familiar with how to do a titration, what you need to do with your sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid is work out how much hydrochloric acid is needed to neutralise the sodium hydroxide. And to do that, you need to fill your burette up with 50 ml of hydrochloric acid, and then you need to put your sodium hydroxide, let's say 25 ml, into a beaker or conical flask at the bottom, and then you need to add an indicator. In this case, a good idea would be phenolphthalein, which will turn a pinky colour. You want to carry out that titration and produce your sodium chloride and water, which is at the bottom. Unfortunately, this will also have your phenolphthalein indicator in. So what you need to do is repeat this experiment, do it until you've got concordant data, so you know exactly how much acid is needed to neutralise the alkali, and then you want to do it again, but this time without your indicator in. This will leave you with just water and sodium chloride, your salt solution. Your next step is to do your evaporation and crystallization step. So get your evaporating basin, add your salt solution in, and then heat it. You want to do this until about 2/3 is gone, leaving you with a little bit of water and your salt, and then you want to put it on one side and then leave the rest of that water to evaporate. By doing this, it will leave you with your pure crystals of salt. Right, let's see if we can put that into an exam question, see how much you've picked up. This one says, explain how to produce a pure dry salt of sodium chloride from aqueous sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So it's what we've just been talking through in the video. It also said include why you've chosen this method and why it's important that you get the proportions exact when preparing the salt. So have a think through how to carry out a titration and also have a think about all the different steps and what it is you need to do. Have a go at answering it, we'll see how you've done in a minute. Okay, let's see how you've done. So again, this was a 6 marker, so there's lots of different things you can talk about here. I'm going to talk it through step by step with all the different things you could have put. So to start off, you need to fill up your burette with hydrochloric acid. So you get 1 mark for saying that. Talking about precision, talk about the fact that the bottom of the meniscus line needs to be on 0 centimeters cubed. Once you've done that, measure out 25 centimeters cubed of your sodium hydroxide. Again, it doesn't have to be 25 centimeters cubed, just choose a value. Add it to a beaker, conical flask, container, anything like that. Once you've done that, talk about how you're going to measure it out. Use a pipette, which gets you an even more strong answer. Add your indicator in, which in this case is the phenolphthalein. If you can learn to spell that, great. If not, an indicator will do. Titrate it until the colour of the indicator goes from pink to colourless. So that's when you know it's gone neutral, it's gone from pink to colourless. Do this until concordant. If you can't remember the word concordant, just say repeat until the results are similar. Take your average, and then you need to do it again without the indicator. This way you'll only have your sodium chloride and your water in there. Then your final steps are to evaporate about 2/3 of the water, leave the rest of the water to evaporate, and you'll be left with your pure dry crystals of sodium chloride. That's pretty much everything you need to know from this video. So here's a review question, very similar again. Explain how to produce a pure dry salt of potassium nitrate from aqueous potassium hydroxide and nitric acid. So think through what we've just talked about, do the same thing again. Doesn't matter that the reactants have changed, they're both soluble, so the steps are the same. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click on subscribe down below, and you can also find out more information on my website mrvalentec.com and Facebook and Twitter.